Welcome back to Small Space Living. We wanted to share with you some of the tips and tricks that we have learned this year to help improve your garden experience. Stick around to see what products and what stuff we have done to make your garden experience a whole lot better. So as we start talking about the changes that we've made and some of the things that we've done to improve our garden and things we think that will help other people, the first thing that we did last year, we had T-posts that lined up this whole garden, and we just wrapped some fence around it, just some regular welded wire. But this year, one of the things that we did was we actually put in a whole new wooden fence, and we did use the welded wire behind it to make it, to close it off. It looks really good. We're very happy with how this turned out. But we used the cedar logs, as you can see, going across the top. We used all the cedar logs for the post. We cemented these in with 50 pounds of concrete per post. And we do have two different gates on this. And something I will tell you to save you some money, we were actually going to buy some of the tartar gates, but they are very expensive. So we actually ended up building this one right here for probably around 30 bucks, maybe 40. But we use these little gate bolts here, so they just slide down on top of it, just like a regular tartar gate does. And we just use the same welded wire. And we found these little boards like this at Lowe's. It's still cedar, but they're just a smaller round post that we use. We cut them off and more or less just build a fence out of them. And this, like I say, this costed us about maybe 30-40 bucks, where the tartar gate was going to cost right at 200 bucks. So a cool little savings and just a cool little trick. But that's our first gate. We built this one because we have the chicken pen here, and eventually during the off season we want the chickens to be able to come in here, help scratch this thing up, refertilize it, and so forth. So now I'll take you down the front side of the gate. And as you can see, this runs all the way to the end of our property. So this is probably about 120, 130 feet garden by about 15 feet this way. So it is a much bigger garden than we had last year. And here is the second gate. So we put in a double gate that we built here. And again, it's the same concept, just a smaller round post, but in the same gate latches you see here. But the thing that we done this for was, I am planning on either getting a small tractor or a four-wheeler with a tiller attachment on the back, and I wanted to be able to drive it straight in here. So now we've got the double gate, so we've got plenty of room to get it in here. But just to kind of give you an idea of the fence, it goes all the way down through there. And at the very end, we actually attach it to our main fence that goes around our property. So just overall, very good improvement. Now we'll take you inside and start there. So now we're inside, and the first thing I'm going to talk to you about, and of course, we have tilled this land. We have put a lot of compost into it. We've really done a lot to amend this soil from last year's garden and for the new part that we added on. But the first biggest thing that we added was this right here. And that is this woven fabric. And essentially what this is a Dewitt product, and it is just a woven fabric that you can put on. It's just like any kind of ground cover, except it does have little micro holes in it instead of like, regular plastic where it really doesn't. So what it does is it allows air and water to get into the plants, but it does not allow weeds to come up. Everything that I've seen on this stuff, it's really, really good. We actually put this all over the garden as much as we could, because last year I felt like we spent more time picking weeds than actually picking fruits and vegetables and all that good stuff. So we're really hoping that this will help save a lot of time and to keep it a lot cleaner, and that it'll make harvesting a whole lot easier. If this is something you're interested in, I will include an Amazon link to it below. I did buy my first roll of it at a garden shop. And then I did end up finding the same product on Amazon. It was a whole lot cheaper, so I will include the Amazon link below. I think it was right around $80 for a 300 by 3 foot roll, so it goes a long way. It ended up taking us about 2.5 rolls to do this whole garden. So, but really cool stuff. And then we also got, it's these little staples that you see right here. And they are actually a very solid staple, so I'll include the link to it too, just in case you want the ground cover. You'll have the same staples we used, and we got pretty hard soil here, so for these staples to work, they are obviously pretty good, so we're very happy with them. We've actually ordered 2 or 3 boxes of them for some other stuff we're going to work on. But that is the first thing that we did, was this ground cover, and so far very happy with it and absolutely love it. The second thing that we got to make everything a lot easier this year, and I will say overall, I think the ground cover in the long run is going to save us a lot of time, just not having to deal with weeds and stuff. But up front, this right here saved us a ton of time. And what this is just, it's an auger bit set, and more or less this just drills the holes out for you. Now I will say, as you can see, this one here still looks brand new. We really didn't use it. This one here looks brand new. We really didn't use it much, but this one here, we used a whole lot for the smaller plants. It puts the hole size to almost perfect. And this one here, we used a lot for the bigger plants. It puts the hole size to almost perfect. So I think we paid about $26 for these off of Amazon. I'll include a link to them down below as well. But absolutely love this thing. It saved us a lot of time from just having to come out here with a little shovel and dig holes. And it just made the job a whole lot easier and a whole lot quicker. So highly recommend this product. This will probably be my next tip to help save you a lot of time and a whole lot of work when you're first getting your garden set up. So again, I'll leave a link to Amazon down below for those. And if it's something you're interested in, go check them out. We highly recommend the product. So in last year's garden, we really just kind of threw stuff together pretty quick, but this year we've got it laid out a lot better. One of the things that I highly recommend you do up front is either get you some sort of fencing or get you some sort of welded wire or something and put you up some fencing right along your tomatoes. And I'll talk about the different kinds of tomatoes we have right here in just a second. But we had these cattle panels that were given to us by some friends, so we ended up using them and more or less tied them up. And I would recommend cattle panels. I think they're a whole lot better for like garden vining and stuff. They're just a whole lot easier to work with than the welded wire by far for this kind of thing. But as you can see here, we've got a row. These are actually San Marza tomatoes, pretty close to like a Roma tomato, smaller. They produce a lot per plant, but we've got several down through here. We've got a whole fence line on both sides. But love the cattle panels with the T-post idea. I just think it works out really good. And for the most part, we've done them between the plastic, so they will be able to just stay down. We won't have to take them up next year. Here is our second row of tomatoes. And these are actually Roma tomatoes. And as you can see, we've got a line down here, front and back of them. Same thing with the cattle panel. So as the tomatoes start to grow up, we can just tie them off on the cattle panel. And down here towards the end, these are the last of our tomatoes. And we've got Rutger tomatoes, which are like a slicing tomato. And then we got some cherry tomatoes in this row as well. So tons of tomatoes. We'll have more tomatoes than we know what to do with this year. I think in total it's probably around 60 tomato plants here. So for just me and Jess, it's going to be a whole lot. And what we don't do, we're actually going to be setting up a market here at our house and selling. So we've got plenty of stuff to do with them. So up in the front of our garden here, we have our corn. Everything that you already see growing here is stuff that we've done in our greenhouse here over late winter into spring, just to kind of get a head start. And then all these holes you see are actually seedlings that we're trying to sprout up, and we expect them to sprout up here pretty quick. Corn, from what we have learned already, is pretty easy to grow, but we do have a lot of this. And it's kind of funny because we actually do not eat corn, but I got some family requests to grow some corn, and then our chickens absolutely love the corn stalk, so we just started growing them for them to eat, and they love the cob. So we got some little things that we just dip in the chicken coop, and they eat the corn on the cob, and works out good for them. And this will be good free food for us. And we've got several uses of stuff that we can do with it. Not to mention, this will also be another item that we will sell in our little vegetable stand we're going to set up. So back here in the back of our garden, this is where we've got our green peppers. And I know there are jalapenos back here. And these are another pepper, but I cannot remember what kind they are. These are, Jessica is our pepper eater, and plus our rabbits and guinea pigs and all the other animals around here on the farm love them. So we've got plenty of peppers going, but this is probably about 4 times more peppers than we had last year, and we had a lot of peppers last year. So should be interesting to see what we do with all these peppers. Again, this will be something that whatever we don't use, we will just put the access into our vegetable stand and just go with it. But overall, like I say, we've got a ton more peppers, a ton more tomatoes, and then obviously we're going to add in corn this year, so that's going to be a lot. All right, so now we're on to the front of the garden, but back over to the left-hand side of it, and all down through here along this, and over here we're actually using the welded wire instead of the cattle panels, but we'll eventually switch this out and go back to, we'll go to cattle panels. So, but all this is sunflowers. Again, all this is stuff we started in our greenhouse to get an early start on, and now we've got them in the ground, so we're hoping they take off. And we do this more or less to attract bees, for one, so they can pollinate the other plants. But also with this, we get the sunflower seeds out of them, and that is one of the main ingredients to chicken food. So we actually use this when we start trying to make our own chicken food. You know, as we mix up our own chicken food throughout the year, we just add these to them as we go. Then on the second row here, and again, this one's done with welded wire, but we have green beans going all the way down through there. So these are all ones, again, that were started in the greenhouse, and then all these down through here that you don't see anything started, those are ones we're starting from seed now outside. And then here on the back row, this is our cucumbers. And as you can see, we've got a whole row of them. The same thing as everything else. Anything you see started was started in our greenhouse, and everything with just holes in it that you see on down the rows there, that is stuff that we just started with seed just now. But again, we've got all this stuff because these are vining plants right here, so we've got stuff to tie them off to as they start to grow. And of course, the sunflowers get really, really big, so that's why we wanted that up there to tie them up so they don't fall over, break, or whatever in case we get wind. And I'm not sure how good it's showing up, but if you see some of the white stuff flowing through here, that is actually from the cottonwood trees that are growing right now, or they're spitting off their stuff right now. So we've got basically cotton flying through there. It looks like we're getting snow flurries. But in the back of the garden, and we actually left most of the back open, and there is a reason for this. So as you can see, this kind of slopes downhill, and back here we've got cantaloupes, which is what you're seeing all down through here. We've got a ton of them, and they will actually crawl down the hill here. So we gave them plenty of room to grow and to crawl. We've got about 8 to 10 of them. We actually planted, these are the Michigan midget cantaloupes. So we actually planted 4 of these last year and got a ton of cantaloupes off of them, about more than I could eat. And I love cantaloupe. So with 8 of them, I know we're going to get a ton, but I will try to eat all that. I don't think that'll be making it to the vegetable stand. And then down here on the other side of the cantaloupes, we've got watermelon, and it's the same concept with them. We've got about 8 or 10 of these, and we expect for them to crawl down the hill to grow. But overall, this is going to be a lot more watermelon than we had last year. And we do have a lot of strawberries going, but we left them in the greenhouse, so they just tend to do better in there. We didn't have much luck with them out here last year. And something else we got going in the greenhouse that we're going to move out here, maybe some this year, but definitely next year, are potatoes. We've got a bunch of the bag potatoes going. But that is our garden. But like I say, I mean, we learned a lot going through this last year. And of course, you can see as we're walking back out here, for one, we expanded it. We've made a permanent spot for it. As you can see on the ground here, we got a lot better tools for it. And we just learned how to make it work a lot better for us. The next thing I've got to do is install a drip system for everything, and then we should be good to go. But the last thing I will show you here, and this is a cool part that just, I'm going to say kind of come with the house, but back here just behind our main garden, this is our blackberry patch. So we get tons more blackberries than we can do anything with back here. So as you can see, we keep us a little spot right here where we can walk back here to pick them. But during the summer, I mean, we can pick buckets, 5-gallon bucket after 5-gallon bucket of blackberries back in here. So it is really, really cool to do. I've got one of my cats here wanting in. And this is one of the reasons we kind of fenced this in, to try to keep the cats out as much as possible, probably more than anything else. But of course, they can climb the fence and get right in here. But overall, this is just some of the improvements we made this year. The garden's a lot bigger. We're very happy with it. And I hope this video helps some other people, at least with some of those tools. And again, the most thing out of everything here that I recommend is this woven fabric. I love this stuff. If you're going to be growing, I think it's very, very cool to have. And I recommend anybody, even if it's just like a garden, you know, a container garden or something like that. I know I've got a lot of friends who are RVers watching this stuff, full-time RVers. Even if you can grow something small in your RV in a container, definitely start trying to grow some of your own stuff. You know, you just don't know when what's going to happen, and it's better to be as more self-sufficient as you can and not have to count on finding that at the store if you don't have to. But thank you all so much for watching. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this video, and if these products are helpful to you, if you got other products that may be helpful to us, let us know. But we appreciate y'all for watching. Hit that subscribe button and thumbs up, and we appreciate it. Thanks, y'all. Bye.